I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. I realized something important the other day. Because of all the shuffling that's happening with the Arnold Classic over the last few weeks, and this person or that person stealing the headlines by coming out with their own pre-show favorite predictions, for one reason or another, no one seems to be talking about Kamal ElGargni. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Kamal and Sean are the only two names on the roster that have world titles on their resumes. And it's understandable that everyone gets excited about all the new roster additions, especially for some of the guys who we haven't seen on an Arnold Classic stage before. But that doesn't change the fact that Kamal ElGargni should be considered a top 3 threat here. Let's not forget that we were having serious conversations about him placing in the top 10 at the Open Olympia just a few weeks ago. And it's not like he's gotten worse since then. So I would be careful about sleeping on Kamal, because he might be the ultimate dark horse here. Now, I'm sure there's probably a term for whatever the opposite of a dark horse contender is, but I don't know what that is offhand. Maybe a favorite. So I'm just going to say it. As far as classic physique is concerned, Ramon Dino is the inverse dark horse contender, because I can't imagine anyone who's seen the content that he's been cranking out lately being able to justify an argument for him not being the clear favorite at this point. As far as his conditioning is concerned, by all accounts, the look that he'll have at the Arnold Classic will be better than what he brought to the table for the Olympia, which was his all-time best performance to date. So anything beyond that in Columbus feels like it just widens the gap between him and everyone else in the lineup. When he's on, which is pretty much all the time, we know that Ramon is capable of beating everyone in the division, not named Chris Bumstead, on any given night. So unless he goes out and completely misses the mark there, it's tough to see anyone else on the roster who's ready to knock this train off the tracks right now. The older you get, the more you start to realize how true the saying, health is wealth, really is. Because we don't realize how fortunate we truly are until we go through a health scare. But luckily for William Bonak, it looks like whatever sort of health problem he was dealing with heading into the Olympia are no longer an issue. Which means that he is officially go as he heads into the home stretch of his Arnold Classic prep. Recently, Williams' team went on the record to address the reports about him having inflammation in his kidneys, which have been circulating around for the last few weeks. And to make it brief, they're reporting that he's back to 100% now and ready to show the world that his best days as a bodybuilder are still in front of him. Now, does that mean we're going to get vintage William Bonak and see him challenge Nick Walker for the top spot in Columbus, Ohio in a few weeks? Honestly, we probably won't know until we see what he looks like on the day of the show. But if the reports from his camp are indeed accurate, there's a potential that this ends up being a bounce back year for William when it's all said and done. And finally, before we sign off today, we have to send a melancholy trails to the late Lee Banks. He passed away at the Mayo Clinic and Hospital near his hometown in Jacksonville, Florida, after fighting through a 2-year-long bout of treatments for a carcinoid tumor in his intestines that was diagnosed back in 2020. Throughout his nearly 2 decades-long bodybuilding career, Lee earned the reputation for being one of the classiest people you could ever hope to meet in the industry. And to a large extent, that's just who he was. Because over the last few days, there's been a huge outpouring of support from his friends and family, who all find themselves in the unenviable position of dealing with his tragic and untimely passing. So from all of us here at the show, we would like to send our deepest condolences to all of Lee's loved ones, and we ask you to keep them in your thoughts and prayers during this difficult time.